Black Violin Masterclass series. Check, check, check.
1 2 1 2 1 2. What's happening, everybody?
Sounding good out there?
Let them know to drop some comments. Let us know how we sound.
Oh yeah, definitely. Check us out. We just first time we doing this live stream thing, you know. So we wanted to make sure we got it all going good. Check, check, check. There it is. What's up, everybody? Have a seat. If you have an instrument, you know, take it out and you know, mess around with it. We kind of mess around in A minor just to start it off. It's kind of a freestyle kind of a vibe right now. So anything in A minor kind of works. So I'm gonna start off a little vibe. If you feel something, then jump in, you know. Sounding good? Yeah, nice. 7 minutes. Shouts out to our sponsors, you know. Just put on some new Daddario strings. Let me tune them up.
Check 1, 2. How y'all feeling out there across the globe?
30 seconds.
Man, Lex counting down till we get started.
I thought we was already live.
You are, brother. So this is class, though.
Till it starts.
Well, we started with a freestyle anyway.
Yeah.
That's how we should always start. Always start with a freestyle. Just to get the vibe, right? You know, get the vibe of the day.
Black Violin Master Series. Thank you for tuning in.
Throw some violins in the comments for us, you know, if you like what you hear.
Please comment. Quarantine vibrations, baby.
The quarantine vibes.
We like to start off every freestyle with, every masterclass, any series with the freestyle. So that's what we're doing right now, just vibe. So pick up your instrument, no matter what it is, string instrument. If you got a flute in the closet, pick it up. Let's vibe.
Yeah. So, yep, we just making it up. We just freestyling, vibing a little bit. That is the quarantine vibes. What's up, everybody? We are Black Violin. I am Kev Marcus. This is the incomparable Will Baptiste. We're coming to you live from our studio here in South Florida. This is a spot we got right here. Will lives right down the street, so we just kind of come together. We social distance and do all that good stuff. Welcome to the Black Violin Masterclass series. This is kind of dope, something we've been thinking about for a couple of weeks now, and we've been sitting back just like everybody, just like, what are we going to do with our time? How can we make a difference? And this is kind of the first thing that we came up with. So thank you guys for tuning in. For those that are tuning in live, or if you're checking it later, appreciate you. We just, I think it's good to start with a freestyle, like, you know what I mean?
That's what we do, man. I mean, it just kind of creates a vibe. It creates kind of like a specific energy when it comes to freestyling, so it's always dope.
Definitely, and I think it's good to kind of just start the day, and it's like, I think every day is different. I don't know what was behind that vibe. I think we was just like, we've been setting this up for a couple of hours, right, and then we finally got everything going, and it's like, that's just sort of what we fell into, and that's sort of the magic of music, and kind of what this masterclass is about just kind of figuring out your own voice. Like, we just happen to sit down at this moment, and this is the vibe that we created, right. And like, because of that is why we play these instruments, and that's why we pluck them and we try to do different things, because it allows us to express ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of what we're trying to get with you guys is, anyone that's watching this is just, pick up your instrument. It's not just for violinists. If you have your instrument in your hand at any moment, please freestyle, vibe, jump in. All the keys are all the same. Just do what you got to do, and just, keep it real, natural for yourselves, and do what feels good for you. Whatever influences that you want to bring into it, these are just our influences that we use it. Right. Whatever influences you bring into it, that's what we want you guys to do. So first off, let's just give a little intro. We are Black Violin. We met right here in South Florida. Yep. Met in high school in orchestra class, both violists. And then, from there, we was always just messing around with hip hop, but it was always kind of classical when we were growing up in the orchestra. But I think it was like a moment where we kind of figured out, how do we make this ours? And right. Then how do we make this in a way where people can kind of just catch their own vibe of what we're doing, you know? And I think that at that moment is when we started being able to make this instrument speak for us and just kind of come to life for us,
Yeah, I mean, we grew up in a very, very unique situation right down the street, Dilla High School, for all the Dilla folks that's tuning in. Fort Lauderdale. So it was a very unique situation. We had an amazing teacher, Mr. Miles, who basically motivated us and told us, listen, you can do anything with this. You can get a full scholarship to college. And that really was a huge factor in our lives, man. Having wonderful teachers that really cared and really understand who we are. And also hip-hop. I mean, hip-hop back in the 90s, early 90s, I guess we're telling our ages right now, but whatever. Back in the 90s, hip-hop was very musical, and we grew up in that era. And hip-hop is all about expressing yourself, doing whatever feels to you, you know what I mean? So classical music is almost the opposite, you know what I mean? You have the sheet of music in front of you, you play what's there, this is what the composer wrote, and this is the interpretation. There's very little room to really kind of maneuver in that sense. And hip-hop is the opposite. You got to express yourself however you want to. And for us, I think hip-hop had a lot to do for us taking this instrument and not looking at it for what it is, which is a classical instrument, which is typically used for that classical music and whatever. But we took that and we basically made it ours. We made this instrument speak our language, and hip-hop had a lot to do with that, because that's what it's all about. If you're a ballet dancer and if you're into hip-hop back in those days, you're probably into, just pop locking and dancing, you know what I mean? So that's what hip-hop was all about. And we grew up in that era, man, and it was one of those situations that, in our school, you either play an instrument or you dance. We went to a magnet performing in our school. Very unique situation. Like I said, I mean, nowadays they're cutting these programs left and right. So we grew up in a very special situation. And that really made us who we are, that hip-hop, our teachers, that really motivated us and taught us. And we both got scholarship to college, you know what I mean? So that was a huge factor. So for all the kids out there, practice.
Yes,
practice.
Definitely, and then, from there we always wanted to just make it ours. So like, we're in college and we're studying classical music, but in the evenings we're making beats and rapping and doing all kind of other stuff, So it's like, to us, it was more about how do we take this instrument that we learn how to play at a really classical, really high level. How do we do that and then take it to another place, or how do we make money doing it, So we started combining the classical, training that we were getting in college, combining it with just this hip hop that just lived in us, this influential, just like heartbeat, this vibe, this energy that we grew up with, and then we just started kind of blending together in this really creative, just sort of organic, authentic way. And that's all we were trying to do. And that's all we try to do now is we just try to make sure everything that we do is just really, really authentic and really just, just really authentic and really us at all times. You know what I mean?
Real.
Like, got to be real, So that's kind of like the story in a nutshell. Now we get to play all over the world. We play for 100,000 kids a year. Play 120 shows a year. Hopefully we'll get back to doing that very soon. And thought that this would be a great moment to kind of use our influences, use our experiences, and create this masterclass. So why are we doing this? What's the point of this masterclass? What is it that we want you to get at the end of this? For me, I think it's like, when we were growing up, remember you play like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star until you die. And that's it. Like, you just go there, you play that, then you play Go Tell Aunt Rhody, Suzuki Book 4, 5, 6,
Right.
And then and I think it took us a while until we were able to make the instrument ours. I think that that's what we're trying to get you guys to do, is just find a way to take this instrument and just play whatever you feel, like, us, if you tell me play something right now this minute. That's just like what I'm feeling at this very second, and I'm able to almost express it in a different way, like a different language almost.
It's liberating, right?
It is, and it's and I think for the first few years, you play it, and the instrument's like your mom's or it's your teachers, but we were able to find a way to make it ours, and that's what we want to teach you guys. It's just like, how do you take the instrument that you love, that you've been practicing, but maybe you're falling out of love with it, or it just doesn't feel the same as it did in middle school,
right,
or a few years ago. How do you make it yours? So that's what this is about. It's about teaching you to take these instruments and liberate yourself, like you say, liberate yourself and make it yours, and do your own thing with it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just the best thing. And once you get to do that, once you get to find your own voice with your instrument, you practice more, you play more, right? And that's the whole goal. And it's amazing that we're able to do these things, and it's great. It sounds cool and looks good. It looks easy, but understand there's a lot of work that goes into it as well. Like, I've been playing for about 24 years, give or take, something like that, 25 years. So I've been playing a long time. Kev's been playing for like 40 years, something like that.
They trying to play me, man.
But
not for nothing. How about it's about to be 30 years?
Wow.
It's about to be 30 years. I can't even. It's hard to even think about it. Like I started when I was 9, so I'm turning 39 soon, and that's like a milestone right there. So for that, it's like the violin part of it. We've learned it for over the years, and obviously, like Will was saying, scales, arpeggios, all of that's important. It gets to a place where it becomes kind of second nature, And once you have these skills in your bag, then it's easier to be able to just sort of express yourself. So you hear me kind of plucking around. We just kind of mess around while the other person's talking, because we like to keep it musical. And we'll just take like something real simple and just kind of find our own energy in it and just, have a good time with it. And now it's ours. Nobody can tell us we playing any wrong notes.
Right.
These are our notes. So this is why we're doing this. We're doing this to show you something different with your instrument. We're not, of course, scales, arpeggios, practicing, all of that is very important. Listen to your teachers, posture, everything. But we're here to kind of talk about the stuff in between.
Building confidence as well is another thing. I mean, I think when I started literally closing my eyes and playing whatever I wanted to play, I mean, it's a certain level of confidence that you get,
Yeah.
And it just applies to everything that you're doing, whether you're going to science class or, English class. It doesn't even matter what it is that you love doing outside of music. It just helps all the way around, And that's one of the things that I'm blessed that I was able to do this for so long, because I'm just a better person, better musician. You know what I'm saying? I come out of my shell a lot more when I'm playing music. It's just great. It's amazing. And that's what we're here to do, is really get you guys to come out of your shells and pick up your instrument and look at your instrument in a different way. Not look at it as an instrument that is there to play classical music only, and it's there to do that, yes, but it's also there to speak your own language. It's also there to express what it is that you want to express, and that's what we're here to do, and we're here to help you guys along your journey.
Nice, yeah. So that's kind of like what we want to do. We seems like we're gonna have 30 days at least in the house. So this would be kind of something cool. We can do this over about a 4 to 6 week stretch and see what kind of things we can kind of what parts of the onion we can peel back and what layers we can see. This is completely interactive, so ask questions in the comments. We're gonna do Q&A at the end of this class. Every class we do a Q&A just to kind of go over anything that we went through or any questions you guys have about anything, life, music, your careers, anything like that. So this class is broken up into two. This is a two type of thing, right? So this is the intro class. Next week we're gonna start it off, and the Tuesdays class is like kind of find your sound. That's the whole energy of the find your sound. And like what we're talking about is the first class is called jump training, and jump training is like we think the hardest part about it is just playing whatever you want and not being vulnerable to what people think. I think that's the hardest part about just making your own music and coming up with your own vibe. And we're gonna do a little bit of a jump training. It'll be a fuller version of it, but we'll take make sure you know G major or G minor scale by Tuesday. If you don't already know it, dust it off 1 octave. We'll do a little demonstration of it. It'll be a little fuller later. So like if you take a G major scale and you just play any note of it, and if I tell you play that right now, just give it to you. I won't give you a second to play it. Just to play a G major scale, and then now you just play any note that you want in. And come up with your own vibe, your own energy within that G major scale or G minor scale. That's where you can find who you are and what your kind of like musical heartbeat is. And just take something simple. Play anything you want. Will, give me something in G major. Just any. What's your vibe right now? Woo! Now that's dope. See, now nobody can say that you played in your own notes. You played in your own notes?
I don't think so.
They're your notes. So how can you play wrong notes? But I think most of the kind of the feeling is just like, man, like how do I do this in front of my friends, or how do I post this, and I think people kind of get in their own heads, but this is the way to be free. So that's kind of where we're going with jump training.
Exactly. Be free, be liberated to just be yourself, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start this Tuesdays and Fridays. So this Tuesday coming up, make sure you tune in 2 o'clock, right? Producer, 2 o'clock, right? Cool, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock Eastern, 11 Pacific, and then so that class, the Tuesday class is really to find your sound kind of classes. We're gonna do a lot of violin centric stuff, so make sure you have your violin or any instrument that you play, have that out, and play along. There'll be moments to play along. We'll also have some like lesson plans and references in the comments that we'll leave for you guys, so that you can, if we play any beats or anything like that, we'll leave it for you so that you can play along to those beats and give you some sheet music, if you have lessons like that. So that's kind of the idea. We may even do some sound effect stuff, you know what I mean? Maybe
yeah. I think we'll mess around. And Friday, we're probably going to go a little deeper, talk about a little bit of our process in terms of songwriting, and maybe talk about some of the softwares that we use. And just tuning every Tuesday and Friday. You never know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be incredibly informative for you, and also even the teachers that are out there listening and watching, to understand how to connect with your kids, because times are changing. I think as classical musicians, as classical enthusiasts, we got to really try to adapt to the times, and I think it's helpful. I think it's going to help this wonderful genre that we got, which is classical music and also hip hop. I think understanding how both can help each other is going to be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, man. So that's sort of the find your sound, and then the Friday express yourself. Yeah, the Friday class is really a lot more about how to write a song. Where do you start? How do you make beats? What do we use to make beats? Where do you find inspiration from? It's like finding a way to express yourself. So if the Tuesday class is about trying to figure out and master your instrument, the Friday class is about trying to find your voice. Like truly what you want to say, how you want to say it, and finding the way to get the confidence, using some of the tools that we have, some of these effect pedals and stuff like that, just to kind of get you guys really able to see what's going on. I don't know if you want to show them a little little bit of that.
Pedals? Yeah, I can show a little bit of the pedals that we got over here. Look. Let's see. I got this loop station right here. Basically, I have a loop going right now. I could just press this button right here. Yeah, that's nice. I got this pedal right here, which is basically a synth, right? This pog right here is the, it's like an octaver. Brings it down an octave, so it basically sound like a cello. Tremolo, delay. This is kind of like a preamp right here. It's another preamp that I'm working with. Tiffany. EQ. This is my distortion bluegrass, and I have some Eventide pedals right here. These are amazing right here. Shouts out to Eventide. And yeah, that's my DI. That's what I'm working with right here for now. What do you got working over here?
Oh, I'm simple over here. I'm way more simple than Will is. I have, you know, I start off with my Polytune and I jump into this thing right here, and it's like a Neve in the box. So anybody that know about studio equipment, this is like a Neve preamp that's just, it's crazy. It sounds so warm. And I like to use bass stuff, so I have a Mesa Boogie preamp, go into my EQ that's off right now because I got a new instrument, and then I control everything basically with this Boss ME80 multi-effect. And then, of course, I go into the Eventide at the end. Shouts out to Eventide again. The reverb on this is incredible.
Yo. But that's basically what we're working with. We switch it up once in a while depending on the situation, how we tour. So, yeah, that's it. Again, thank you for tuning in. Listen, we're going to just vibe real quickly. Off of this vibe, we can make something different.
Actually, I got the other beat that's in
Let's
there.
do it. Throw that in.
And then get your questions ready. Anybody has any questions for us, we'll freestyle a little bit and take a couple questions. So I just got this beat right here. It's kind of fire. I got it from Splice. You know. A minor, for anybody who wants to join that. Sweet. That's how we freestyle our shots. All right. Do we have any questions, Mr. Producer?
Coming up, questions coming right up.
Shouts out to Lex Uno and Jenny for coming through, helping us out. Socially all the way over there, helping us out. Appreciate you.
Ready?
All right. What you got?
Okay. Jaden wants to know how old were you when you started playing, and what made you choose the violin?
I started playing when I was 9 years old, and my mother made me choose the violin. And love my mom. Shouts out to mom, she watching. And that's kind of how I started. You know, my mom's made me do it, but I fell in love with it, and it just kind of became my own instrument after a while.
Yeah, my story is a little different. I wanted to play the sax and put me in the wrong class. True story. And it was one of those situations that, man, I was like, listen, what's up with all these wood instruments? Where's the sax and the trumpet, the cool stuff? I was stuck with the class for about 2 weeks, and I kind of fell in love with the viola. You know, Tiffany. She caught my eye, and we just been together for what we talking about, like 15 years now?
It's been a long time, but you got another one behind you, though.
Yeah, but what had happened was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I introduced her to Tiffany, and they kind of clicked. So it was just like, well, cool, we can all just vibe together. You know what I'm saying? That's just how that worked.
Right.
Her name is Lucille, by the way.
That's a good name, Lucille.
Lucille.
I like it.
Just look at her.
BB King. Yeah, Lucille. Love it. Great question.
So Carlos wants to know. First he says, "Great sound, guys.
Thank you, Carlos.
Are you guys using a mic attached to the violin and a reverb and delay effects?"
Okay, so basically we have these pickups. So different violins and violas have different ones. This one's the Glasser violin, and the pickup is in the chin rest. But it's basically a pickup that connects through here, goes into the bridge, and that's how this particular violin works. And then we send it to this pedal board, and then in the pedal board, we do have some reverb and some nice little goodies. And we've been working on our sound for a long time. You know, it's different when it translates to video, but we've been working on it, trying to make it, something different. Will is going to show you what he got going on.
Yeah, I just have, like I demonstrated earlier, I just have the pedal loop station. I got like a little synth, little octaver, tremolo, there's a little preamp there, EQ, eventide stuff. Yeah, mix it up. So yeah, this is like my reverb and all that kind of stuff. So we do have reverb that we kind of send out. And right now I'm using this, if you can see it, this basically is a receiver's, what's it called? Line 6. Line 6, and I'm just wireless right now. Tiffany just wireless. Just look at her.
Great question.
Can you repeat the question after?
Oh, okay, no doubt. Yeah, we'll repeat questions.
Carlos also wants to know, is there any specific software that you guys like to use for your performances?
Carlos is asking, is there any particular software we use for our performances? We do use Ableton for our live performances, and we use it a lot in the studio, and we were just using it now. We're going to do some demonstrations of it later on in the masterclass, particularly the Friday classes, where we talk about how we create and, how you guys, just to give you guys ideas on how to come up with your own stuff. So Ableton's something we use. Logic has been great over the years. We've, whatever you could find to be creative. GarageBand's been fine. I've used Fruity Loops. We've used every kind of software there is.
Right.
Thank you, Carlos, again.
Fishing for dummies. What do you use as a drum? Your songs have drums in them. What software are you using?
What software do we use for the drums? Basically, for this drum thing, I kind of just went on splice.com, which is just a sample site. And I went there and I just looked for a nice break beat around 70 BPMs. That's kind of what I was thinking for this, just to catch a nice little vibe. So splice.com is a place where you can just go get, there's just like loops and different types of inspiration that you can find there. So I recommend that. There's plenty of other sites just like that. We also make our own beats. We also, drummers. We just do everything. This is just something I just threw together because I wanted to give you guys a beat real quick that I knew that we would just be able to throw together real quick. So, but get it from wherever you can. Splice.com is definitely a good spot.
So Reese wants to know, what is your favorite part about being a professional violinist?
Reese, what's our favorite part about being a professional violinist, violist? Also, yeah. I think the best part about being a professional violist and traveling and performing is seeing people and connecting with people. We get to We get a very a unique opportunity to see people and travel around the world and experience different cultures. I think that's the most unique and the blessings about it. You know, you get to see the world for what it truly is, and you get to inspire people at the same time. You know, people get to come out and they tell us after the show, man, I just love your show. You guys inspired me to go to that college that I've been, avoiding for the last 10 years or whatever. So we get to inspire the world everywhere we go, and that's the most fulfilling thing about what we do. Is just, for me, it's just being able to inspire.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's the same thing too. Inspire and change people's perceptions of what is possible. You know, we don't look like violinists. We get to travel into crazy, just like different corners of the world, Alaska or Idaho or Wyoming, and jump on stage just like this and be us. And people are really digging it, you know, and being able to do that is an awesome experience every single night across the country. So, you know, it's the best part of it.
Two more questions.
Last one, Betsy. What have you loved the most about this past year of touring?
What do we love the most about this past year touring?
Some good fans, man. We met some really awesome people, really awesome kids. You know, we were in really crazy places last year. You know, so I think that's what I remember most is just that the energy and the way people react to us is just so warm no matter where we are. So the fans, number one. We're growing. That's always good.
Right.
There's bigger crowds every year. And that's always good. And this year was doing the same thing before this happened. So excited to kind of get back out after this kind of reset and just do it again and keep building off of that and kind of jumping on different corners around the world.
Yeah, and the people, man, people are different everywhere, you know, particularly in this country. You go to the West Coast, you go to California, everyone's kind of laid back. You go to the East Coast, New York, everyone's kind of moving around real fast. So people are different everywhere, and I think that's the most rewarding thing about what we do, being able to see the world and see people interact with each other. And it's a blessing. It really is. But again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Black Violin Masterclass series. Again, Tuesdays and Friday. You know, send a reminder on your phone. Don't miss it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Will Baptiste here. Kev Marcus signing out. But we're gonna sign out with a little vibe before we go.
Thank you, guys.
Did you sign up? Did you sign up?
Yeah.